Let's talk about the moment every future eunuch definitely didn't look forward to: the procedure. If you're imagining a clean hospital room and a guy with gentle hands and a sterile scalpel, no, absolutely not. This was less Grey's Anatomy and more medieval Saw franchise. So here's how it worked. You're a boy. You've been sold or taken or born into a system where someone else decides that your future involves less walking and more waddling. You're taken to what we'll generously call a clinic. In reality, it's a dim room or a tent, or sometimes just a corner of a courtyard with a bucket. The guy doing the procedure is not a doctor. He's not even a barber. He's basically some dude who has done this a few times and thinks that qualifies as medical expertise. Now, brace yourself. The tools involved were horrifying. Imagine a sharp knife or scissors that hadn't met soap in years. Sometimes a hot iron was involved, not for style, for cauterizing. An anesthetic. You're lucky if they handed you a stick to bite on. And then came the big decision: full or partial. In many cases, especially in Imperial China, they went all in. The full deluxe package. Everything must go. The entire department. That means they didn't just remove the round twins. They took the control tower too. One clean sweep, or messy, depending on the budget. Afterwards, you were left to recover in a puddle of what used to be you. There were no antibiotics, no clean water, and absolutely no guarantee of survival. In fact, a huge number of boys died during the procedure, or from the infection that followed, or from the sheer trauma of it. But if you survived, well, congratulations. You've now unlocked a whole new social category. You are now an official eunuch. You don't belong to regular men. You don't belong to women. You are a human exception, a walking loophole, and that had benefits. But first, you had to heal. Healing meant lying still, trying not to cry, and hoping that the swelling goes down before your new job starts. Sometimes, they inserted a small tube made of bamboo to keep the plumbing from sealing shut. Yes, you became part man, part flute. If you're thinking this sounds barbaric, you are correct. But wait, it gets more insane. In some cultures, the removed parts were actually preserved. Why? Because if something happened to you and your bits were missing, that was suspicious. If someone claimed to be a eunuch and couldn't show proof of purchase, people got nervous. So in China, eunuchs sometimes carried their original parts around in little jars. As ID, nothing says I'm legit like a pickled pouch in your carry-on. This entire process was built on a system of cruelty. Boys didn't volunteer for this. Their parents sold them, or they were slaves, or war orphans, and nobody asked for consent. It wasn't even a question. You didn't get to weigh the pros and cons. There was no presentation or HR orientation. Just chop first. Ask never. And because of that, many eunuchs carried a lifetime of physical and psychological trauma. Imagine growing up knowing your body had been altered against your will. Imagine being defined forever by what was missing. And still, you were expected to serve the empire, smile politely, wear your robes, and pretend like everything was fine. But here's the part nobody talks about. For those who survived, for those who got past the fevers, the infections, the terrifying recovery, they became something strange in the eyes of society. They were feared, pitied, mocked, but also respected. Because anyone who could go through that and keep living, keep serving, that person was tough, not physically, but in a way that terrified emperors and comforted queens. So next time you complain about a bad haircut or a stubbed toe, just remember, somewhere back in time, a boy your age was clutching a bamboo straw and trying not to scream while a man with a rusty knife changed his life forever. No pressure,